Good afternoon, Michael Masserang here again, and today I'm in a rural district outside of the Charlotte area, and this is a lovely neighborhood. These houses are brand new, kind of mixed in with apple orchards and farmers' fields, corn fields. So very pretty area. This house is about 2 to 3 years old, and this customer reached out to us, saw our videos, and it is a vented crawl space, which is what we want to talk about today. A lot of information about vented crawl spaces, and some good, some bad, some really bad. This house is really exciting because it is pretty much a stand-up crawl space. The one corner is 6 foot tall at the left rear, so that enables us to really look at the system. We're seeing these are new construction vents, and they're pretty easy to open and close. And for the most part, we've sealed most of these vents from the inside with foam board, an insulation board and foam. And we have 2 points of intake air and 2 points of exhaust. And what we call that is controlled ventilation. Controlled ventilation is basically controlling when we invite air into that crawl space environment, as well as exhausting the stale air. This is a hybrid program. Most of the industry is, how you want to say, domiciled around encapsulation market. There's probably 50 companies in this market that solicit the public, trying to push expensive dehumidifiers and really thick pool liners. Problem with those programs: one size fits all. And every customer needs to know that a house needs to be treated on a case-by-case basis. I was really excited when I saw this particular situation. As we mentioned earlier, it's really roomy. Had a little bit of insulation tagging, at which we quickly repaired. And you know, this is a lovely crawl space. It's a new house, which new construction, getting an opportunity to do this retrofit on a new construction situation is pretty rare. Most of the houses that you come across already have a lot of damage, and you have a multifaceted program. But you can see here, we put down a white contractor class liner. We did that for a lot of reasons. Number one, we're staying under the auspices of vented code under the North Carolina code book, so that's really important. You have more options, and you can do these hybrid programs. Second, we are not running a dehumidifier. I repeat, we are not running a dehumidifier. There's no need to run a dehumidifier. It's the middle of June. Wood moisture is 14%. The ideal range for wood moisture is 12 to 14%. So why run an expensive dehumidifier when I can keep it under control with the fans? As you will see, this protocol does have the ATMOX program. This is a dead corner fan. Notice that it is running today. The dead corner fan runs completely separate from the intake and exhaust fans. And we'll crawl over to the intake points. These are the intakes. This is a triple intake, an ATMOX triple intake fan. Notice it is not running today. It's in the lower 80s, and it is humid today. But tonight, there's a cold front coming through, and the dew point will be down to about 58, 59 this evening. And these fans will be running. So we can do an air exchange based on a factor of dew point in a summer installation like this. At night, often, you have cooler nights where you can do air exchange. You can ventilate just fine with the outside air. Notice these 2 low voltage lights. The client is going to put some shelving and storage in this corner. Notice I'm standing up. It's unusual to have one this tall, so they wanted to light this corner up really well so they can put some canned goods down here to store. These are low voltage lights, and they kick out a lot of power, a lot of juice, and they hardly take any energy. You can turn these on and off at the console. The console is being installed upstairs. We'll impose a picture into the video showing the A-box, which is installed in the closet. The A-box, you can see the conditions in here at all times, including turning these lights on and off. Here's the other intake. Notice the fan is not running. And I'm going to crawl to the next feature I'd like you to see, which is the wood moisture sensor, if I can find it here. Okay, this is what we call a wood moisture sensor. A wood moisture sensor is so critical into monitoring a crawl space. When you see these encapsulation companies, they encapsulate the crawl space, they want to calibrate by relative humidity only. This system is calibrating by a factor of dew point. The most important reading that goes to that controller is this ATMOX wood sensor. It's a probe stuck into a piece of southern yellow pine. And how can you calibrate a crawl space unless you know what the wood moisture content is? Very important. And none of these companies run wood moisture sensors. Relative humidity does not really show, it doesn't tell you all the data you need to know whether your crawl space is healthy or not. So very important feature, having the wood moisture sensor. And I'm going to crawl to the next dead corner fan. You'll see the dead corner fan running here. Notice the fan is running. I'm crawling to the back, or I'm sorry, this is the front of the house where it does get tighter. We have another dead corner fan. Whether you're running a dehumidifier or having a controlled ventilation hybrid system like this, without the assistance of dead corner fans, you cannot get the stale air out of the dead pockets. So it's important to know the ATMOX controller can be used for an encapsulation or a controlled ventilation system. And the most important part is moving the air from one place to another. Dehumidifiers don't move air very well. We're going to let the data drive the decision whether we need to add a dehumidifier to this protocol. That is a possibility, but based on putting these in for 15 years, we're not going to need a dehumidifier on this account. That wood moisture will never get above 18%, and that saves this customer $2,000 because they're not going to have to put in an expensive dehumidifier. So a lot different mindset with the ATMOX program. You have to be willing to understand that crawl space moisture problems are a factor of poor ventilation as opposed to a flat out moisture problem. And you can see the low voltage wires that are connected to the system. The last feature I want to show is the B box. The B box is the central hub. The data wire going into the closet for the ATMOX A box or the controller goes directly to this B box. The B box, you'll see these low voltage connections that go to the various fan locations, the sensors, interior, exterior sensor, outside sensor. Also, it runs the lights and the dead corner fans. Very easy to install if you're thinking of becoming an installer. These are very easy to install. They've really simplified the program, and the ATMOX B box is certainly changed a lot over the years. But this is really a neat, clean installation, and we just want the public to understand. You'll see a lot of negative information about fan systems. I'm not going to disagree with some of it. As far as the calibration point, your system is only as good as its sensors. You've got 3 separate sensors on this system running data to the controller, and then it decides whether to use the inside or outside air. If it's too hot, too cold, it's not going to use that air. If it's too dry, if it's too humid, the system knows that and will not use that outside air. So the dead corner fans are set in a separate setting. I think we set these on 53%. So these dead corner fans are going to run a lot. and they can be swiveled or turned in any direction I want, so that if I need to move air to a dead pocket, I can change direction of those fans at my discretion. So we appreciate you joining us today to look at a controlled ventilated crawl space. This is under vented code, and no need for an expensive dehumidifier. A nice pretty white 10 mil install. Everything looks good in here. Wood moisture is perfect, and tonight when we have cool weather, the wood moisture will probably drop 2 or 3 points just with the introduction of the fresh outside air. So if you have any questions about encapsulations, controlled ventilation systems, vapor barriers, mold remediations, insulation, liners, foundation drain systems, give us a call. But mainly, this is a really good video to show exactly what happens in a controlled ventilation, why fan systems work, and when people are getting online and saying negative things about a fan system, perhaps it's not a fan system that works. This is a system that does work. 15 years of experience installing these. I've never had a complaint from a client, and it's just a really smart thing to do if you want to save money, operate on low voltage instead of running expensive dehumidification systems that take a lot of energy. This system will save you money and hassle, plus also maintaining the stacking effect of the home as it was built to do, and keeping the fresh air component in the solution. So thank you again for joining us for the ATMOX install, and we look forward to seeing you on the next one, and we're happy to come visit you at your home, have a phone consultation. Just look at the number at the bottom of your screen or visit the website, send me a message there, and we'll be happy to take care of whatever needs that you have. Again, this is Michael Masserang, and look forward to seeing you on the next one. Take care and have a great day. Thank you.